Hey YouTube, it's me, Golden Ghetto 77. D okay. Um. So I'm here to show you my game. It's gonna be a review of Miles Morales. I know I'm not really a game journalist, game reviewer. My last review, I believe, was Star Wars Battlefront 2, which I'll agree was a fucked up, dumb review. I was blinded by the beauty and fun of space combat in Star Wars. The beauty of the game caught me. The rating I give that game now would be a 9 out of 10 for what the state it's in now. I think it's perfect. A little more. That's just 'cause I can play as Grievous, so I'm a bit biased. Alright, here we got, well, Miles Morales. The game came out in November of 2020. In fact, it came out November 12th, 2020. My apologies. And I just want to do this game review to show you that I've played the hell out of this game. See, that's bought it the 24th of December. That's when I bought it. And ignore the save file, my little brother plays this. These two are mine. And so I wanted to go over a few things, and I don't want to start off the negatives because I think this game is overwhelmingly positive. But where to start? I think where we should start is actually in suits and the custom menu of that stuff. Then from just because that can lead me into other things. So let's start. Here's the map. It's the same map as the first game, obviously. You're not restricted to Harlem. I showed the 100% of Mother's Day. That's why I was there, to show you that I actually did 100% the game. I do have platinum for this. So eat a dick. Neat. A few collectibles. I have, like I said, 100%, so I have all the collectibles. So let's really start on the menu by, this is the map. Obviously you'd see nothing here if it was 100%, which I had. So we'll come over to this section. And it has has a lot of suits. English is not my strong suit. I'm not going to show you each individual one. But I have a number. This one I hate. I hate this one. I hate it because I feel unaccomplished. Like, it's like you can buy it as soon as you start New Game Plus, and that's all it is. Then there is these mods which could affect your gameplay. I'm saying could because I've had the same two equipped since I purchased them and have not changed them since. Same goes with here. Gadgets, I'll say that the pulse mine and web shooters are my two most used. With gravity well being my least used. Just how it be. Then skills, you know, just how skills are skills. I wish there was more. I wish in New Game Plus it didn't give me 9 skill points that are absolutely useless. Unless I'm just an idiot and don't know what to use them for. No. Yeah, the social feed, I'm not scrolling down this. But it's just simple. Then collections. I love the collectibles. I do not listen to these, although JJ is my favorite because he's funny. She is okay, I guess. Most standard podcast ever, at least he yells. It's just stuff like that. The benchmarks are great. Characters, it gives you a Hen's diagram of each of them. Genki Lee. The parents hate this child. Like, most obvious villain of all time. We'll get to that when we go through story. I think the game does a great thing. As you see, The game clearly is repping the Golden Ghetto.
Listeners, you all know that I pride myself on truth, integrity, and facts. I've been tough on this new Spider-Man since the disaster on Braithwaite Bridge. For good reason. The kid screwed things up so bad, even the original model would have blushed redder than his costume. The classic one, not that ugly new. But today, I must also admit that the city is rallying around this youngster and proclaiming him a hero. With an unstable energy source on the verge of wiping Harlem off the map, this youthful Spider reportedly stepped in and saved lives. Or at least that's what his supporters want us to think. The real truth is that none of this would have happened if he hadn't donned a ridiculous suit and started swinging willy-nilly around the city, performing reckless acts of violence. Hero? More like zero? Ha! Jared, open up the lines. I want to hear from those who agree with me. Jared?
You need to land. Dad, someone's jammed the controls.
I think this is a great segment to get into now that JJ has done JJ has properly interrupted the review and that there is indeed this crime. I believe it's time we go into side quest and kind of the factions after I turn down the audio because I cannot hear shh. I already had it halfway. You guys don't understand. I couldn't hear it in the menu screen. But so let's get into it. Let's start about side quest. But really more specifically at the moment I wish to talk about crimes. Man, Ultimate's great for getting combos up. But so there's, instead of in the other game where there is 5 sets of y'all don't see shit. Instead of like 5 stable crimes, 5 whatever, there will be there's types of missions. For example, this is one type. Y'all don't see shit. Don't run out, don't run out. Can't beat me. But yeah, so like there's different. Oh! She's gone. But like I said, so instead of 5 types, there is indeed fuck no, there's more than 5 types. As soon as the side quest finishes, I can actually show this crime finishes. I can show you. Shut up! No one asked you. So what we have here is street shootout. That's one. There's supply theft, armed robbery, mugging, cyber attack, stolen vehicle, armed steal, break-in, raft escapees, assault, and shopper malfunction. Those different types will pop up anywhere in the city as you're just swinging by. Hence why I just came across one, and they go on forever. In the original game, there was 5 of stable Raft, and demons in each district, and once you beat them, originally, that was it. They would not pop up, so kind of boring in the end game. I personally preferred it. It made it feel like I did something, and I go back now and they just pop up, and it's kind of annoying, not gonna lie. But it's how it is. But going off of did that card just despawn in front of me? I'm not doing it, so I don't care. Over here we have activities, and this is where the side quest is. So we got just simple ones. It can range from, can I get a photo, help me find my cat, to the comms are down for an EMT, but the EMT is so, not saying they all make sense, but they all serve a purpose. Like after you do all of them, you get this one, which is where you get this suit, and I think it's great, because it shows that what you've done, there's going to be spoilers in this by the way, this game's months old now, what you've done has affected the people of Harlem so much that they're willing to reward you, and it makes the end of the game will get there so much more believable. Along with, it's pretty neat. Now this specific side quest, I think, should come before the end of the game, because it's suit. I'll take off the Golden Ghetto suit for now. It's a suit. It's a great suit. I love the cat. I don't really care for the sweater and the shirt underneath. But I like the kitty in a backpack. I think it's great. I'm gonna ignore those two. So now I've kind of generally covered them. The purpose of side quest is people of Harlem been having issues. It's generally what all the side quests are, is up in Harlem. And it's because Wilson Fisk is trying to re-establish control. Like I said, there'd be spoilers. And I think it's handled really well. And it makes sense. Which makes me really hope we're getting Wilson. Genki, shut up. No one asked you a word. Alright, cool. I cared when I first experienced that. Eh, much like the first day, it doesn't give you the option to answer or hang up. Kinda sucks. But yeah, I believe this would be a perfect time to talk about the enemy factions. Now that we mentioned Wilson Fisk, because I do believe he still got play, even though it's quite obvious, honestly, from the start, but if you don't want to spoil for each playthrough, it's still enjoyable. There's not really too much to say about the side quests. I think they're all enjoyable. I quite enjoyed them enough to where I was willing to do them twice, not only so I get the rest of my gadgets and stuff. Spider Kitty. But, I just generally enjoyed them. For example, I think one I really enjoyed was getting this suit from, in my professional teenage opinion, a cute girl that happens to be deaf. She gives us this. In terms of a game. Alright. I ain't sitting for no anime girl, but if you look at it as like Miles' real life, you can see it, but thumbs up. And then I don't care, Genki, shut up, you're interrupting my thought process, and it's a very easy thing to interrupt. So on to the main story. I'm going to start off talking about the two main enemy factions. I guess there's kind of a third. So let's start off the easy one. The first enemies you encounter is Roxxon. No. It's Raft, my apologies. The Raft escapees. Same as last year. Not last year. 2017's. There. Fucking raft escapees. Like, what do you, there's nothing to say. Is this back to... oh. I mean... They fixed it. More-ish. Tower's kind of fixed. um... Why can't I run up the tower? I want to run up the glass. There we go. That was weird. Oh. Okay, so it's not fully fixed. Guess it's taller. But, so there's things like that. And so the raft, there's nothing special about it, but they still, I think, the least annoying enemy for me to fight because they don't have the special units, really. They just kind of have baseball bats and, you know, guns and a knife, I think. I don't know. And melee, so they're not too bad. And then we meet Underground, the next enemy type we face. Yeah, there's something. Like I said, this is gonna delve into spoilers. I believe it's totally fair. So, the leader is your best friend Finn. Miles can't see it, but anyone who's played a superhero game, watched a superhero movie, seen a superhero cover, seen a movie, like played a game, lives in, I'm gonna say, the United States, because superheroes and movies are kind of big in our culture. I'm not saying they're not for the rest of the world. But between guns and 4th of July, it's up there. It's definitely like top 10 of American things, culture, and then food. So, it's not quite at the 4th of July level, but it's up there of how it's with our culture. Genki, shut up. So we meet the Underground there. So Finn's the bad guy, the Tinker. Boring name. Wish they could have gone with the Mechanist because it's been kind of funny. Fallout, been a fun Fallout Easter egg, but probably created issues. Fucking Peter Parker. So, but besides that, I think she's a decent villain. Her purpose, I think, fits her quite well, and then my biggest problem with the Underground isn't their story. Well, I'll get to that, but it's how they look. They took what the demons did, they looked, and they took what the Sable looked like, and they sprinkled a little Maggio on, and painted it purple. I don't know what to say, like, the demons, I think aesthetic-wise is horrible. Is that just standing in that chair? Not the demons, I liked how the demons look. But I do not care for how Underground looks. Whatever, I can ignore it. And then Roxxon is the next enemy. And that's Red Sable. What the fuck did this show up triangle as? And that's Red Sable. Red Sable, however, is quite cool looking. I think they look cool because this red version of what Sable was. I like the mask, and I like the big old vectors they have that shoot lasers. Sharks with frickin' lasers on their head. cool. That sounds like a personal problem. I'm surprised a private army was allowed in New York after, you know, everyone was upsetty about, you know, Sable. So the story progresses, and it's a really heartwarming story about Miles dealing with being Spider-Man now. And I think with that marked, we'll check in with here for y'all. Fuck. We'll check in with this, and I think it'll help me explain more. There's a Puerto Rican flag. This is the problem I actually kind of want to touch on. It doesn't. I don't think it should affect you when you're just going through a normal new game. Because I personally believe when you first experience a game, you should experience all the cutscenes. But with New Game Plus, I wish I had the option to disable it because I really don't care about the story. But there is the thing of Miles's heritage of being both black and Hispanic, I believe Puerto Rican. And he's also regularly with his dad's death, which is specifically why I chose I should show this on camera. This fucking review is gonna be an hour. Now it's happening. This is a problem. I hate this. Why does it randomly stop me to load shit in? That's horrible. I don't care if it's loading in extra detail. The first game didn't have to do that. I had no problem with having civilians around and about. My apologies. I had no issue of having. That's one of the game's flaws. I wouldn't say many, but it's one of them. Sorry about him, my mic. I knocked down to push it back up. The coffee. No, I do not have the Rona. I don't have the Coof. Don't have Vid-19, as Kevin Hart would say. But I'm not really going to mention too much about Miles' heritage, the Hispanic and black, because I have no experience with that. I don't know how to handle that. I'm white and I'm from a small town in Michigan, so I really couldn't properly do that. I couldn't give it the justice it deserves and couldn't mention it. But it affects Miles' life greatly, which I imagine it would, being in ethnic rich New York, whereas people from all over the world living in one city together, different religions and all that. So it's actually pretty neat, and Harlem being one of that, which has a really neat history fact of the Harlem fighters in World War One or World War Two. I know there's World War Two division as well, but I believe they got their start in World War One. And this is what I'm going to get at in a second. So that's one thing I was gonna bring up the store. That's why I chose to do these. I meant to actually kind of do this section more of the collectibles, but I didn't really know what to say about the collectibles. Shut up, Ma. I'm just kidding. Never speak to you about this like that. My mother would beat my ass. I'm 6 foot tall and 200 some pounds, and she'd still beat my ass, and she's only 5'3". All right. So. So like so in the story is also dealing with no confidence in himself. He's upset with his dad. He's not upset with himself, but he's upset with his dad. All right. Now that I think I'm done being interrupted, unless Genki calls, fucking bastard. Um. So the story has a lot to do with his family, missing his dad, and then worrying about his mom because their mom's currently running for city council. He has a constant fear of what if this happened to her and that. So that runs in the story. That's why he goes with that, not showing his identity, keeping it secret, so family can't be hunted down because he already had that experience with his dad, which I think is really nicely handled. At the start of the game, it shows an inexperienced Spider-Man. Shut up, Genki. No one asked you to speak ever again. Can I turn off your calls? Because I actually might do that for now. No, but I did like that. Let me turn on and off the podcast. So I like JJ. I don't really care for the DanaCast. No, she's nice, so you think I'd like her more. Anyway, so that has a lot to do. I think it's really neat. At the start, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but at the start of the game is your inexperience. I think you notice a little bit of the web work, but you really notice in the cutscenes a lot. He's still going, but once you get in, he has his experience. So the story isn't much to say. There's this new new form. Surprise, surprise, the evil corporation. Roxxon's making it. We don't know they're evil except for the fact that everything in the game is telling us they're evil. They push people out of their homes and harm to build a complex. Da 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 da. Oh, by the way, that clean reactor is actually poisonous to people. That killed its creator. We'll get to that. So there's that. If you can hear a jet above me, it's because right now I'm on an Air Force base. I'm visiting family for Christmas. And I'm leaving this weekend, but yeah. So it ranges from that. And this is kind of why I'm going to skip the middle of the game, because even if you didn't play the game, you weren't interested, and you're expecting me to spoil it out, I think you should. Especially if you have PS4 or PS5. It's worth it. It was enough for me to do 2 playthroughs and enjoy it thoroughly. Redo side quests, 100% the game without issue. Except for the 100 combo, but that's whatever. The super simple way online to do it, and I chose to do that because I'm lazy. So a lot of that evolves from that. But back to the reason why I chose that side quest to do. I know I'm jumping all over the place. I'm not very good at reviews. I don't do them. But I wanted to do this one, mainly because we're talking about it, and me and my friends are talking about it in our group chat today, so that really inspired me to do it, something I've been wanting kind of do, and that made me do it. The collectibles, I think, are great. They all provide a story. These time capsules show how close you were to Finn, because this game has to do something of, Miles is already Spider-Man. You don't become Spider-Man in this game, he's already Spider-Man. He's not a good Spider-Man, he just became Spider-Man, but there's no just experiencing his normal life, because the other game had that. So I have to put this in, it has to give more backstory, stuff we would not have seen in the other game. And it does. So time capsules handle your story with Finn, it also has a little bit of your father. These are just tech parts. There's actually no story element with these whatsoever. These are audio with your uncle, because it's getting you two close together and more acquainted with each other. The postcards, as I shown, are something with your father, gets you more understanding. It's really heartwarming. So that's what that has to do with. Then the things are, then the Rockstar Labs and Green and the underground hideouts actually provide more information on those on the factions. See, watch, I'll do this. See, that's what I was just talking about. So I was just kind of me dipping my toes. So I think collectibles are amazing and are a great addition. So moving on from them, back to what I was saying about the story. So you go through all that, figure out the bad guys are the bad guys. If Miles figures it out, because he doesn't know how to take hints. You as the player, I'll say for a long time ago, because you're smart. SMRT. If I could edit it, I would definitely throw in the Family Guy clip right there. Alright, JJ, you were enjoyable to prove my point earlier. Right now, shut up. I'm just going to talk over JJ because he really doesn't matter. It's back to the story, so it evolves into that. Eventually in the story, his best friend Finn, the Tinkerer, the main bad guy, figures out that he is Spider-Man. I like that. They're interrupting my train of thought. I'm really sorry, guys. I should have turned that off. I didn't input for a point. So, fuck Christ. Anyways, the story goes on, and eventually this leads to you finding out the reason why she's the Tinker is because her brother Rick got cancer, or he got sick. He got sick from New Farm, and they collectively decided instead of explaining to authorities, or coming out publicly, or really anything but corporate espionage, to break in and destroy what the company owns. So legally, I think what Rockstar did next was legal, technically. Anyway, it results in Rick dying. So that's why she's a Tinker. I know I said I wasn't going to spoil too much. That was a big one. But I just need to say that to explain her story. Because then she goes ballistic. Almost kills Rhino. Rhino's a great addition to the story in my personal opinion. It's one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. Purely just because it looks. I mean, it's freaking Rhino. So there's that too much. So, and if you're wondering where the Spider-Man is, the story does give a great example and hints back to something from the original game, which I think is great. I'm sorry guys, my brain's like dead right now. Anyway, it all ends up where Finn sacrifices herself and saves your life. That's really the story. The story is interesting-ish, but I found the side quests more engaging, more heartwarming, and also more interesting than the main story, just because the main story didn't have any major twist like the other Spider-Man. Not like Martin Lee was an obvious villain, and then we all knew Doc Ock was going to turn evil, but when he did it and how he did it, we had no idea, and that was handled really well. Is that the bridge that went boom boom? I think that is, actually. Ah. Ah, yes. Clearly gone boom boom here. Seems they just loaded it. Oh no, it's not, because it's just a train. So that's really about, but you may be wondering, gameplay-wise, is it like the other one? Kinda, but at the same time, not. We have new powers, which is Venom. Okay, this one's not working. So he's got the Venom. And it has to build up the bar, so that bar is no longer used for finisher like it was in the first one. That's instead used for your Venom and healing still. While combo, when you combo it's 15 I believe is when you get your first, fuck you Underground, when you get your first 15 is when you get your first thing, then from there you can get, I think in New Game Plus you can have it stacked up to 3 and regularly you can only get up to 2. Which is, you know, whatever. But there's not a lot to say. Really, because I think the best part about the game is going out and playing for yourself and understanding. So it does things different, I believe. You can do Venom jump. I can't access. Use my Venom. It's still rebuilding, so I can't really show you a Venom leap and all that. So there's stuff like that. Another addition, really, or explanation, my bad. Another explanation about Underground. It seems Genki keeps yelling at me about Underground doing this, Underground doing that. Is where did Underground come from, you might say? How did Underground get built up from the ashes of the previous thing? Why didn't we see anything? Well, they would have, except their new gang. They have their roots with first fighting the demons, which the demons were fucking their day up until their leader, Martin Lee, Mr. Negative, was arrested. Makes sense, right? I'd mess up that gang's whole prowess. Don't see. They still have guns, but yeah, definitely more people. That part's unimportant. They no longer have the powers because Mr. Negative's in jail. So the underground fold, not the underground, the demons fold, and the underground take over for the demons. Next is Wilson Fisk, and because he also went to jail from Spider-Man, his gang shriveled, and then we stopped their hideouts, so they moved into there, along with Tombstone's gang, which is a side quest where Tombstone was sent to jail. His gang now was doomed, so Underground took over from there. That is a cool setup, I'll get to that. So then from there, they also had experience against Maggio, which is the classic crime families, you know, the you come to me on this day of my daughter's wedding, you know, the Don, all that, until the DLCs when you fight Hammerhead as the original Spider-Man, because he took over. So essentially the Underground's able to rise because there was a power vacuum. And I think it was handled really well, their origin story. I think it's a bunch of conveniences that they lived. Like an ungodly amount of conveniences, it makes sense. It kind of actually goes to prove that something JJ said was right. That he didn't clean enough of the city up to bring down Fisk without leaving such a power vacuum. And then when Maggio and Lee showed up, that cleanup still wasn't happening. so allowed a couple things to happen. And this game did introduce something, a major thing, for me at least. It introduced my arch rival, Derek, in one of the side quests. He's a big guy, and he had the kitty when we had in the first side quest, the spider cat. So be on the lookout for Derek. He's gonna come back bigger than ever. He's gonna be the main villain in the next game. So they did a lot of world building with this game, which I think is great. They even have an end credit scene, which directly affects the next one, which I'm excited for. Overall, I've kind of rambled on for however long this has been. What do I rate this game at? Easily a 9 out of 10. Like, it has issues. It's crashed on me once. I don't even know why. I literally got the suit from doing all the audio recordings, left and went to do a challenge, and the game just crashed. Thankfully, it saved, and the save worked between after I got the suit, because I tried loading it back up and told me my save data was corrupted. But it was fine. Whatever. And then... my bad. And then, like, you seen it earlier where it just stopped and loaded. It did in the loading screen too, which is weird. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why the game does that. I get there's more interiors now. Okay, this definitely isn't the building show. Fine, Yankee, I'll talk about Feast if you're going to keep bringing it up. So like I said, my rating is a 9 out of 10. Definitely should get and play this game. It's worth it. It's interesting enough. And I'm going to bring up Feast real quick. I'm really happy they brought Feast back, and they gave it issues that made sense. It's just really nice to do his mission. It's heartwarming. Since I actually really cared about Feast from the first game, I thought it was a good organization. And you know, Aunt May died, and that hurt. So yeah, there you go. That's my short expose on Feast, just because Genki keeps bringing it up. Fucking annoying prick. I don't care, Genki. Shut the fuck up. But yeah, so that's really all. I can't think of anything I missed. I'll check real quick. No, there's really nothing I missed. I think this game nailed everything it was going to do and more. It's about 12 hours long, I believe. I think I finished either faster or slower. I personally thought it took me about 10. But I could have been wrong, and I could have easily missed 2, 3, 4 hours and just not remembered them. Because I played over a 3-day period, stopping to do other stuff and enjoy family. Nah. I already talked about Feast, JJ. Anyway. Screw you, Jared. Fair enough, JJ. That's great. Alright, so let's bring my review to an end. What's better than JJ, except for one final thing I know I said I was done. Should this game get DLC? No. I thoroughly believe this game has finished its story. There's nothing more this game could tell me. I think any potential DLC for this game that they would want to do should just be put into the next game, making it longer. Because I do believe I believe the original was 15 hours and this one was 12. And with the next game, including both Spider-Man, it should easily be a combination and more of those two. So, thank you all for coming out and watching. Like I said, ratings 9 out of 10. An 8 if you're having more issues than I did. That random loading and bugs really brought it down one. I might give it an 8. We'll keep it at 9 because I enjoyed everything thoroughly enough where I could ignore the bugs really. So it's a mixture between bugs and underground looks, aesthetic being not interesting at all. That brings it down a point. But other than that, great game. So go out and buy it. Golden Seal approval. See y'all in the next video. Bye bye.